touchdown, time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, Hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
That man can spit, mama. That man can spit. I don't know who he is, but that man can spit. What's going on, you guys? That's your boy Joe Castro, a.k.a. Philly Fresco. Y'all know what it is, man. It is Philly the podcast. So today I am joined by my guy, as always, Brandon. But I have a very special guest, someone I want to introduce to the family. My guy, Swerve, man. Marv, what is popping, man? Welcome to the Philly, the podcast family. We will be having you on once a week, but we'll talk more about it. But just welcome, man. Welcome back. How you doing, bro?
Good evening. I'm happy to be here. It's freezing outside. You know, it's nice and warm like it is where you are. But you know,
yeah,
I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Happy to join the team, Philly the podcast. We're going to make some magic happen.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's going to be fun. Sure. So let's get right into it. Shout out to everybody that's in here, man. This was on Brandon's idea. He wanted to talk about these rumors with Jason Kelce. So before I go and say anything, Brandon, what are your thoughts? What were your initial reactions to it, and what did you want to talk about?
Bro, it's just like I was scrolling on Twitter and it was just like rumors. Jason Kelce can be either traded or cut by June 1st or whatever it is. It's just like, I get it. We need to get underneath the cap, but I feel like there's certain players you just don't move. Back in the day was Brian Dawkins. You shouldn't move him. He should have never, ever left Philly. And I feel like Jason Kelce is one of those staples. He's been the most consistent player on our team health-wise. His passion for Philly, he's never been any kind of trouble with anything. This guy has literally been just a staple Philadelphia Eagle his whole career. And the fact that you would be willing to let him go or trade him unless he was open to it, unless he said, listen, I get the cap. I don't want to budge on my contract. So it's either you can let me go or it is what it is. Then I get it. But if it's something that's just like he never wanted to leave and we go ahead and just let him go, that's just straight disrespectful. And now it just put Howie all the way down, along with Jeffrey Lurie, because he would have to sign off on that.
Facts. I mean, my quick take on it, I look at it like this. I can understand if you're trying to get value out of your players, if somebody gives you an offer that you're like, whatever. But the cut part, that's the part that gets me. That's the part that gets me upset. If you are going to cut Jason Kelce and get nothing out of him, that makes no sense to me. That I agree 100%. That's just straight up disrespect at that point. I'm not with that. So if you're going to, like I said, if you're going to get younger and try and get value out of the older guys, then that's what you're going to do. But I'm not with losing value. Don't lose value in the process. You know what I'm saying? That's where I stand with Jason Kelce. But what do you think, Swerve? How you feel about the whole Kelce situation?
Well, I feel like this. If he wants to stay in Philadelphia and play and end his career in Philly, he has every right to. How I say, if we're going in a complete rebuild mode, we owe it to guys like Kelce and Fletch, who are at the end of their careers. Get them out of there. They didn't play here. They got their Super Bowl. They can go help a team win another one possibly. If we're going into a complete rebuild, which I commented on, I think we are, then I don't have an issue with getting Kelce out of town. Cutting him, definitely don't agree with. If you can get something in return for him. If he wants to stay, I would love for him to stay because even in his older years, he's still a top 2 or 3 center in the league. So I believe he has the right to determine what happens next in his career.
Facts. I agree. 100%.
That makes sense right there, like what you just said. They're older in their career and those staple guys that if you like what we talked about on Saturday, when we were on UD Radio, we had to agree to disagree. Is anyone safe on this team? And when you put it that way, if the veterans want to move on and kind of like they're okay with being traded because they don't want to be a part of the rebuild, I get it. Just to kind of piggyback on that, and this was Castro's question to me the other day was, do you really think we're in a full-on rebuild, or do you think we just need to retool and just plug some pieces places?
I think this. 2017, right? We won the Super Bowl. 2018, you go back and you lose to the Saints, right? The writing was on the wall when they didn't sign, when they cut Malcolm. They cut Malcolm, right? So it's like, you just cut a guy over whatever. You cut a guy over something that should have been easily handled. You cut him and you replaced him with Jalen Mills, a guy who's, I'm not going to talk bad about because I know Jalen. I've interacted with him several times, and he's a good guy. But it's no way you bring Jalen Mills, you move Jalen Mills from cornerback to safety to replace Malcolm Jenkins, who was the leader on your defense and played 98% of the snaps. So you cut Malcolm. This is how I'm looking at it. Like, you cut Malcolm, it's like, dang. Then I think you held on to Peters too long. Like, see, sometimes the opposite end of the spectrum, like, we want Kelsey to stay. Kelsey's still performing. Peters was still on the roster when Peters was in a complete decline. And that's the line you walk. It's like, you want to be loyal to your players. You want to be loyal to those guys who have been loyal to you. But at the same time, I don't want to see another Peters situation where Peters was getting beat, 7 offsides penalties a game. So do I believe this team is in a rebuild, or can we retool? It's a rebuild. Like, it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild. If I get into it, like, because it's like this. You have a new coach. If it was simple retool, if it was a retool, Doug would still be here. If it was a retool, Carson would still be here.
Mm-hmm.
You got a new guy who's going to take lumps the first 1 or 2 years. He's going to, and this is going to lead to something else. It's probably going to be a quarterback at 6, which people are going to be really pissed off about. Because if you're rebuilding, who do you keep on this roster? Who really on the roster stands out to you that you want to keep? My phone just buzzed. They're cutting out Sean. They cut Deshaun. If they cut Kelsey, you got rid of who's left on offense? Miles Sanders is probably the only piece on offense. And Rager. Miles Sanders and Rager are the only pieces on offense, contract-wise, talent-wise, that makes sense. I mean, you drafted 6 receivers in the draft last year, so you're going to keep those guys. Greg Ward, I like Greg Ward. So contract-wise, and Fulgham, like I told you, Fulgham should have been playing all year long, but that was a Howie decision. Fulgham, Miles Sanders, and Rager are the only 3 pieces on offense. Lane's getting up there, and Lane's injured too. So if you get the right offer for Lane, you might as well move on, because again, you don't want to keep these guys here if you're not winning. If you don't pay it, you don't pay a defensive tackle $25 million on the last place team. If you do that, you're the Redskins with Albert Ainsworth.
Says that I wouldn't go that far. I mean, that $100 million man was trash, you know. At least horrible. Fletch still kinda. Yeah,
Fletch still got it, but it's like your best player is a defensive tackle. At this point, he's the best player on the team.
Facts.
And while defenses, they have impact, who really you can pay a defensive tackle $25 million when you're a perennial Super Bowl contender, and he has that impact on the game. But you don't pay a defensive tackle to go 3-13. You don't pay $30 million
Yeah.
to a defensive tackle to go 3-13. It just doesn't make sense fiscally.
See, at least like the Rams were able to build a squad
Around
pretty quickly. Yeah, they built their team pretty quickly, and they utilized that rookie contract that they had with Jared Goff, and then they paid him, didn't like him, got rid of him. They took a hit, but it is what it is. They're a Super Bowl team in their eyes right now. They're a team that can compete.
I think they got better.
Now. Exactly. So let me ask y'all this. Let me ask both of y'all this. I have Brandon answer first, and then we'll go down to you, Swerve. Do you think, hindsight is 2020, obviously. Should we have waited paying Carson Wentz? Did we pay him too early? Were we too focused on proving to him that he was our franchise guy when we probably could have used that money in other aspects of our team? What do you think about that, Brandon? And before you do say, I just want to give a shout out to John Coe watching us from UK. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. We love you. All right, go ahead.
Dope. But in hindsight, there's a lot of moves that we can talk in hindsight. But the reality is that when Carson signed that contract, if he was to play well last year and just like if we had him for like the life of this contract, then we would have made out. Then everyone's because you see what Deshaun Watson's getting. You see what Dak Prescott wants. You saw no one's going to really touch Mahomes, but you saw what Mahomes got. And if we would have waited, it would have been our luck if we didn't sign him when we did. And then he would have been balling out, and we would have been stuck on this. Is Philly going to sign him? Yeah, oh, you guys are talking about Dak, but is Philly signing Wentz to that $40 million deal? So, yes, in hindsight, it would have been nice to be like, all right, we used the fifth-year option this year, or we don't, and it is what it is. But at that moment in time, the way it kind of played out, if you don't count Carson playing bad, it was a good decision at the time.
I feel you. I agree.
Because let's say you go out and get him another receiver, right? Then he goes out and puts up a Pat Mahomes year. Now you're jammed like, oh, are we really going to pay this kid $50 million a year? And they wasn't going to pay that man $50 million a year.
Fact.
They wasn't paying, let's be honest. So I think the signing was perfect because year two, he looked like he was elite. Before the injury, he looked elite. And it looked like he was progressing. He was making the right decisions. He wasn't scared to use his athletic ability. And the play calling was there. It was like that's another thing. The line was healthy, and the play calling was called to accent his strengths. I think a lot of people don't realize is that once Frank left and once D. Phillip left, Groh wasn't the same guy as Frank Wright when it came to calling or influencing the offense, and Wentz's play suffered. And I also think we have to look at it from his perspective. He just went out and played out of his mind for 13 games. And Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl. So in his mind, he's like, I got to get back because this guy, and it's just like, I'm not going to say Nick Foles was horrible because Nick Foles played ball after the second half in the Falcons game to the end of the Super Bowl. Nick Foles was really great.
Mm-hmm.
But the first 16 games of the year, Nick Foles was ass. Like he was the guy in the group project that just sits in the class and doesn't do anything. And then the teacher asks one question nobody knows the answer to, and he answers it. And everybody's like, oh, Nick Foles came in and saved the day. But in reality, Nick Foles was just there. He was there at the right time. We call lightning in a bottle. Carson Wentz was definitely not paid early because if he would have went out there and played excellent ball, the next 2 years we're looking at $40 million a year. So I definitely feel like they didn't pay him early. Could they have waited a year or put the money somewhere else? Yes. But at the same time, I'd rather pay you early and then regret the mistake and be able to get rid of you than not pay you $50 million after watching Mahomes get paid, after watching Watson get paid. after watching these other guys get paid, Philly would have been in a jam and had to possibly cut Brandon Graham or Fletcher Cox or one of those guys just so that they could pay Wentz. And I mean, it's a lose-lose situation, but he's still, you know. Yeah, Black. The rebuild should have happened this past year, but they didn't count on Dallas being garbage. They didn't count on the division being garbage. Honestly, that whole division, if we're gonna keep it funky, that whole division was trash. So yeah, we paid him too early. No, we paid him right on time where he should have been. I think, like you said, Brandon, you know, you rather pay a guy, like that's just like if I tell you this, if I tell you, yo, I got this car coming, I got this 2023 Lexus, I can sell it to you right now for $20,000. You buy the car now, then let's say next year's model come out and it's $50,000. You look like you were smart. It was a smart move. It was a smart move by a smart GM.
Facts.
But
well, I need that $20,000 internet because my shit sucks. I'm getting tired of internet. we have sun but no internet connection.
I went to go
hate Florida.
that and I accidentally clicked on leave. I was like, oh
yeah, I was like, what they want to see if I could carry the joint. I was ready to go, but I ain't know.
That was your test. That was your test. You passed with flying colors. I really don't know what's up with my internet. Like it just picks when it wants to come and go. Like I might just have to use my hotspot or something. I don't know, but it's pissing me off. But either way. So what were we talking about, guys?
Signing Wentz was smart.
Yeah, see, all right, this is how I feel about that. Shout out to R. Freeman. I appreciate that. Says, love the content, guys, but you could definitely work on that. O-line might give a guy time to throw it. I mean, we had 14 different O-lines.
14 different combinations this year.
You know, it's really, I'm not making no excuses for anybody on that O-line, but, you know, it was hard to get, it's hard to get continuity. It's hard to get continuity.
Brandon Graham, I said Brandon Graham. Brandon Brooks ain't finished the season in 3 years. I don't want no smoke, Mr. Brooks, because you bigger than me, and I'm a big dude. So I like Brandon Brooks. I think he's the best. See, y'all don't have to worry about that. I be out where the players be sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, you in the thick of things at any moment.
I gotta watch what I say.
Especially on here, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I heard you was talking on Philly, man. I heard you had
Brandon Brooks to say." Is the best guard in football when healthy. Lane is the best right tackle in football when healthy. So you have the best right side of football, and they're both missing extended playing time.
Yeah.
So then
consistently.
Then you lost your left tackle, who I'm not sold on, but I want to give him the opportunity. So it's just like, you know, this year, we've been the most injured team like since 2016. I feel like that's an understatement. Like, I mean, last year a lot of teams got hurt. Don't get me wrong, but since 2016, we have consistently gone through what everybody went through last year. So, like, to circle back real quick. I'm thinking about betting, man. I'm trying to get down to my man in Philly, man, because they could do that online betting. That's what I need. But either way, to circle back to the whole Carson Wentz, the whole Carson Wentz situation. My thing is, yes, legit, I agree 100%, which I think somebody needs to clip this because we never do. But I agree with you, Brandon, that you're like, yeah, finally. So, you know, there's some sense. But no, I agree with you. I think hindsight is 2020. Obviously, we thought we were ahead of the curve. We thought we were, you know, making the smart move, which in hindsight, it could have been if he would have had a great year. He didn't. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, you know, do you think that this is going to like that? This is what I worry about. If a year from now, right? Because he doesn't have the fifth year option like Carson Wentz does. We're talking about Jalen Hurts now.
Right.
And a year from now, right? He'd be 3 years in. His last year would be his fourth year. So you look at him and you're like, all right, his fourth year is kind of his fifth year option at that point, right? Do we go ahead and pay him early if he has a decent year? What is he worth? Do we go ahead? You know, there's so many questions that come into play because unless he's elite, so my thing is, we look at the number 6 pick. We look at the Eagles' history, right? If you think about where we are right now as a team, this seems tailor-made for Howie Roseman to take a quarterback. You have Trevor Lawrence, who's, you know, the clear-cut number 1 to a lot of people, but you also have Zach Wilson, who's a lot of people are saying that's his number 1. Now they might just be drumming up interest, but what does that say to me more so than just like drumming up interest? To me, that sounds like the Jets might be comfortable with Sam Darnold and they might be looking to move from that second spot. So if it's them drumming up the interest, that gets interesting to me, because then I know somebody like Howie is going to be like, oh, you mean we could get the second best quarterback? I don't either. Before you get into that, shout out to my guy DJ Junebug in the building with a $5 donation. Says coffee. I'm gonna need it. I'm going to need it. I appreciate that so much. But go ahead, my bro. I'm sorry about that.
I don't like that. I think Trevor Lawrence is the clear-cut guy. And everybody's hyping this quarterback draft up. I think I'm not sold on Justin, but I think Justin's better than Zach. I think Trey might be actually better than Zach. Zach gives me too many Johnny Manziel vibes. As long as the Eagles don't trade back, here's the 3 things I don't want the Eagles to do at 6. Don't trade back to get more picks, because y'all don't pick right anyway. So just getting more picks just means you're going to get more players that are going to be going in the next 2 or 3 years. So don't trade back. Don't take Kyle Pitts at 6, because that makes absolutely no sense to me. Like,
you're gonna get some people in the chat upset. You're gonna get some people upset.
I like Kyle Pitts.
There's some Kyle Pitts.
He's a really good tight end, right? But who's the last tight end that went in the top 10?
Here's what they'll tell you. They'll tell you, don't think of him just as a tight end. He could play wide receiver. He could be split out. He's more than just a tight end. Come on.
Hey,
we took a tight end? Kevin Jackson, I think his name was, or something like that. We took a tight end. Like in the 80s, 85.
Kyle Pitts is a Philly guy.
Yeah.
So, nothing like Kyle Pitts is a great player. Kyle Pitts is dope. But is he number 6 dope? No. I think looking at it, he's not. I'm going to tell you, and I can't think of this kid's name. Florida had Kyle Pitts 15 years ago. His name was Cornelius Griffin or something like that. Dude was amazing. He was a 6'5", ran 4.45, was supposed to be the hybrid, can play receiver, can play tight end type of guy. Got to the league and didn't pan out. He might have played on the Eagles briefly. He was from University of Florida. I think his number was like 6. Cornelius Griffin, something like that. He played, Vernon Davis, Black. Shout to Black. Vernon Davis was the last tight end taken in the top 10, number 7 in fame. You don't draft a tight end.
Vernon Davis had a great career, though.
Was he a number 7 though?
On the Kyle Pitts train. I'm just giving Vernon Davis his kudos.
Shout out to Vernon Davis. Those who know me know Vernon and I's history. Vern is a good man. That's my guy, Vern. That's my guy. Vern.
Vernon was great, and I've said this before. Look, if you're going to grab Kyle Pitts at number 6, you have to tell me he's your best receiver on the board, not your best tight end.
Yeah.
I need to know
that's what I was going to get to.
I need to know that you fell in love with him because he can be your number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Not because of the things you can do and move him around. You can get a guy that you can move around in the 4th or 5th round, to be honest. So, it is what it is. But exactly. I was just going to say, a lot of people are saying that just go ahead and get him. You want a wide receiver, go ahead and get the best one.
Don't take Pitts and don't draft a cornerback. Do not draft a cornerback in the top 10 unless it's Deion Sanders or Champ Bailey, and don't take Kyle Pitts. I'll be fine. I don't like like somebody else said, I don't like Pac-12 offensive linemen, but if you want to take if the tackle's there or the guard, if the tackle's there for, Oregon, Yeah, Cornelius Ingram. I was right. That was his name, Cornelius Ingram. Yeah, he was Kyle Pitts. Like if you stood Cornelius Ingram and Kyle Pitts side by side, it's like the Josh Sweat, Jadeveon Clowney comparison. Like one of them is store brand, one of them is the real deal.
You got the Frosty Flakes.
Store brand, right?
Yeah.
You got the Frosty Flakes and the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got the big bag.
The no frills. Cornelius Ingram. So don't take the cornerback. Don't take Kyle Pitts. Either go Jamar Chase. Just get somebody that can impact the team. Because we drafted these guys in the first round. We haven't had an impact first rounder since Carson Wentz.
Facts.
Those are facts.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't. Like, I think we all agree on this. Trading up for a quarterback, you know how much assets we probably have to give up to get that 2 spot.
And you're already in a rebuild. You don't want to.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're in the rebuild. You would have to give up so much because I know the Jets aren't cutting us a deal. I've come to the conclusion every time I think we can like get a trade with the Jets or something, it hasn't happened, and I don't think we really had this connection that I have.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, that's Howie's boy Joe Douglas is over there.
Joey D.
Look out."
Joey
D ain't worried about.
He
ain't worried about Howie or nothing going on, man. He ain't worried about nothing going on.
He probably hates Howie too. Howie's family probably hates him.
He couldn't wait to get out of Philadelphia.
Big facts, bro. Big facts. Now, I want to answer this question. Junebug asked. He asked, what do you think they will do with Fletcher Cox? Now, before you answer, I want to say this much. I will say, I did say that we should be getting younger. And I think me and you talked earlier about this, Brandon. Like, I feel like they go a little bit too overboard on one side or the other. It's like they say we're gonna get younger and they cut everybody over 30. And that's not necessarily what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so I'm hoping that they don't get rid of him, but if he's one of the moves, you know, I guess it kind of is what it is, but I definitely hope he doesn't go. But what do you guys think about Fletcher?
Let me ask you guys this. If you're going into complete rebuild, who on the roster gets you the most in return?
Probably Fletch.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Who would you think?
I think it's Fletch.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe a Dallas Goedert. No, probably.
But I think Dallas is at that age where he's still in 2 years. Dallas Goedert is what, 28-9?
Maybe Jalen Hurts.
Maybe. That would be probably close, just because he's a quarterback.
Miles Sanders.
Either way,
yeah. I think Miles Sanders or Fletch get you the most in return, but you're not moving Miles because you still got 2 years left on a second-round rookie deal.
Right. Yeah, and Fletcher got to count in the money too, just like you basically said. You got to count in that cap saving. So, I mean, it's a possibility. Fletcher's definitely a possibility.
Just like what Swerve said earlier, it's just if he's willing to be traded and he just doesn't want to end his career in a rebuild, then I get it. But we all saw what happened when Fletcher Cox came out the game against the Cowboys at the end of the season. There was zero pressure the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Malik Jackson was having a hissy fit on the sideline. He couldn't do anything. Javon Hargrave couldn't do anything. It was like once Fletch went out, that game just ended for us. And it didn't even like affect the offense, but it seemed like the offense missed out on him too. So it was just getting rid of him just to get rid of him, give money.
What was those 2 guys you said? Malik Jackson and Hargrave, 2 wonderful signings by Howie Roseman. They combined for as many sacks. I think they got as many sacks as us 3. Yeah. How many snaps did you guys play last season?
It's so weird why like all these people come here and like Malik Jackson is such an anomaly to me. Like the fact that he literally had a clean bill of health for his whole career, and he didn't play 2 seasons. He played his whole like I want to say like 8-9 years, maybe a little bit more. First game he comes to Philly, and he's injured. Like literally the first. Like I just don't get like the first game you're here, you get injured. Like God save us all. Like I don't get it. Like I feel like if I go to a Eagles game at this point, I might mess around and get injured because we just have the worst freaking luck. Now AWOC, first of all, shout out to AWOC. Shout out to my guy Aaron, man. does a lot of good things in the Delaware area, right? He's doing all his edits in Delaware, usually with the high school.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to him, man. Shout out to you. I'm glad you.
He doing big things out this way. That's my guy, A-Walk Edits. If you need some edit work done, you need something done. Shameless plug. Holler at my man. He the best in the business, best in the area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No shame at all. That's my guy. That's why I brought it up. But he asked, so let's ask the panel. All right, we'll start with you, B. Randon. I don't know why I did that. I always wanted to do that. I'm sorry. I literally have wanted to call you that since we started this podcast, and I was like, I don't want it, so I just threw it in there. But anyways, if they're taking QB at 6, should they just trade up for Fields? Now, I guess this is just, personal preference. You've seen some tape on a couple of guys. So what's your thought, Brandon?
If he falls to us, cool. But I'm like I've been preaching. I don't think we should even draft a quarterback. I'm on the team of getting the assets, making the rest of the team look good. So if Hurts doesn't work out, if he doesn't work out, that means we stink anyway. So we're probably going to have a high draft pick, if not next year, the year after that. We have more cap space next year. There are things we can do to make this team a lot sexier. I know Joe's against it, but even getting like a free agent, sometimes it takes a semi-veteran quarterback that's good, that's looking for more money. Maybe Philly might be the spot to be in a couple years. So to go ahead and draft a quarter and trade up for a quarterback for Justin Fields, who honestly people are so mixed on, and like it's hard for me to put an opinion because I'm not like giant into college football, so I can't really say like, oh, but I think he's better than Zach Wilson or whatnot. But we have a guy in Jalen Hurts who has similar technique, similar ability, who played for Alabama, who played for Oklahoma, who was a Heisman finalist. Like, I want to see him get some burn, and I want to see him play a full season.
I agree. I'm not sold. The only quarterback I'm sold on completely is Sunshine. If you're not Trevor Lawrence,
Sunshine.
I don't want to talk about drafting you. But like I said, when you guys the other day, new coach, and the coach normally wants their guy at quarterback. I'm not sold on Zach Wilson. If I can't get Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields is a constellation prize. I want to see what Trey does at his pro day, given he hasn't done anything. So if we're going to go quarterback and you don't get Trevor Lawrence, I think Justin Fields is the answer. I also like Sam Darnold because I think he may be available. And I think he's just in a horrible situation with he's in a horrible situation with the Jets. And that's causing him to look a little worse than what he actually is. I think talent-wise, he can still play.
Now, let me ask you this before you move on too quickly from Sam Darnold. What would you think his contract would look like? Because I wouldn't be a guy. Look, the kid balled out in USC, and he did it against my Penn State and the Lions, but it is what it is. But I like the guy. I think he's a great baller, but what money would he, because we don't really have the money, and would you really want to put yourself into that type of commitment? You know what I'm saying? Like, would we rather just be better off staying young? You know what I'm saying? Right? Even though he's young, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, like a draft pick instead.
Let me ask you a question. So if you don't go get Darnold, because this is year 4 for him, right?
Yeah.
So you still have that 5th year because he's a first round guy.
True.
So would you rather go with Hurts and say how they did Mariota, bring in a Tannehill type of quarterback, an older guy who didn't necessarily pan out at his first stop? So you get a guy who didn't pan out at his first stop, and you bring him in to compete with Hurts, or do you go the Fitzmagic route? If Hurts is gonna be on the roster and you're not getting a quarterback, what do you do at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I mean, I have been kind of banging the table. I know a lot of people are against it, but I've been kind of banging the table for somebody like Nick Foles. It doesn't necessarily have to be Nick Foles, but that type of player, if he gets cut, I'm not saying let's go trade for him, which I'm assuming he's probably going to get cut. But like a guy like that it doesn't even have to be that he's been on the roster. You know what I'm saying? But to say a name that maybe doesn't evoke such emotion, a Chase Daniels type of
Jacoby Brissett, Chase Daniels,
somebody that can teach whoever it is, might not be a pending threat. Not the type of guy that you're going to be worried about
how to
taking
be a
over.
pro.
Exactly. Somebody like that. And that's if you're believing in Jalen Hurts. I've been very, very adamant that if you have any doubt in what Jalen Hurts can be, that you go ahead and you go draft the quarterback, because this is probably going to be your best time. And I know what we want. I know what we say, because we look at it, and say, give the guy a chance, which I agree. But if they're not willing to do that, if they don't think that he's the guy, go get your quarterback now. Don't try and go get some random guy and overpay him to try and make that a competition. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at.
You.
That's
just to ask you guys a question. I've been looking at Twitter and everything, and Twitter's the place for all news. But there's Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts as to be a solid backup, that they never saw him as a number one starter in this league. What are your guys' real thoughts on Jalen Hurts? Do you agree that maybe he can be that solid backup that we drafted in the second round, or he can actually be a starting quarterback in this league? A good one, at least.
I am not going to base anything he did off of seeing him on the field with that Eagles roster. Because it was in shambles. Like, the line was in shambles. And then Howie was at play. Marcus said it earlier, like you said at the beginning of the Dallas game, he throws a touchdown to Deshaun Jackson, and we don't see Deshaun Jackson for the rest of the game. Fulgham, like I said earlier this week when I was on the show, texting and in the message in the chat, you watch Fulgham come from out of nowhere to become a guy who looked like he belonged in the NFL. And then soon as Alshon comes back, Fulgham gets no snaps whatsoever, which is ridiculous. Whoever said, Tyrod Taylor was the name I was thinking too. Do you want to go get a Tyrod Taylor? Tyrod Taylor would be a good fit. We should have had Tyrod Taylor when Chip Kelly was here. Tyrod was trying to come play in Philly.
See, I don't know if he would want to come here, just because our medical staff is trash. And I know he's had a history. I know he's had a history with poor medical staffs. If you know what I'm talking about.
They treated that man like he had Medicaid, Medicare, Medicaid.
They was sitting there like, "We gonna find a vein. We gonna find a vein. Don't worry." Oh, that's a lung. Like, how do you? I don't get how you do that.
His doctor must be the bull who faked like he was a doctor. Remember the cat that thought he was a doctor.
Oh, black dude, bro. That's hilarious.
That must have been the doctor that treated Tyrod Taylor. So that was,
So to answer your question, Brandon, what do I think of? I'm gonna be the guy that overanalyzes things, right? So I'll be able to give you a little bit of an answer if I'm being honest. From my gut tells me that he could be that guy that could be a starter. And the reason why I say that is simply because I feel like, especially now, you don't get to the NFL, especially at the quarterback position, especially in the top three rounds, without having some type of talent. So it becomes, what can you do with that talent? How well do you take to the coaching? How well do you take to development? And I feel like he has all those boxes marked off. Is he the best arm talent in the world? Probably not. Is he the best in the pocket? Maybe not. There's definitely things that he has to work on as a passer and as a pure quarterback. But, I'm not calling him Lamar Jackson, so don't go crazy, guys. But if you look at Lamar Jackson, and I think we've had this conversation before, it's coaching over everything. It's scheme over everything. You can scheme anybody to have a good year, have a good career in some cases. So, I think that he, in the right system, can definitely flourish. And that brings me back to why I say, if Nick Sirianni doesn't think he can be that guy for his coaching or his staff, then you got to give him that opportunity to go ahead and go get his own quarterback. Like I think me and you are both, I think all three of us at this point can agree that we don't necessarily want a quarterback at 6. And I think we can definitely agree we don't want to give up assets in the process of getting one.
Yeah.
If that's what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? I've mentally prepared myself to get a quarterback if that is the route that we go, but I don't want it. So let me ask you one last question before we get you out of here. Brandon, I know you gotta run real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you your own question. What do you think about Jalen Hurts? Do you think that he can be that guy for this franchise? Because I know me and you we went back and forth. We've thrown things, you know what I'm saying, virtually, but we've thrown things. So what are your real thoughts? Like, do you really think he can be the future of this franchise, or you just kind of like just give him a shot?
I part of me is I feel like there's a lot of emotions that go when we got rid of Carson, and it's like you're looking to kind of like get on to that next wave of whatever your QB1, that quarterback of your team, you're going to ride or die for as a fan, no matter what. Like you have to defend against Cowboy fans, Patriot fans, whatever. Like you have to defend your team against all these people. So when Carson Wentz is gone, I felt like I'm like trying to be like Hurts is that guy. At least find someone to stick up for when people are trying to talk about it. But I mean, I like the work that he's already putting in work. Like he's putting out videos. It is what it is, but he's out there putting in work and working out. And I like some of the videos. It looks like he has a quick release, something that I wanted Carson to have this whole time of just like kind of like that flick of the wrist release, like Aaron Rodgers kind of has. Not saying he's Aaron Rodgers. It's just like just the little drills he was doing, like it was getting practice in. So I like that. I like how the wide receivers are they're going to go work out with him pretty soon. I like how some of the veterans gravitate for his energy. So I want to give him a chance. I don't know if he will be. There's things that he definitely needs to work on, especially like a couple of those out routes he threw. It was kind of tough. Like he either waited too long or he doesn't have the arm strength to throw out routes in the NFL, which is concerning. But those are things he can work on. I'm sure. I mean, he got thrown into the fire. The fact that he was able to compose himself and go out there and play with Carson breathing down his neck and the drama of all of Philadelphia, that in itself speaks volumes. And that would give me the mindset to be like, let's give this kid an opportunity.
Facts. I feel you, man. I mean, I hope he wins the battle. That's what I've always said. You know, he's cheap. I think he's good. I know a lot of people hating on him. You know, Young Money hates him, apparently.
Yeah,
Young Money
I see Young Money hates him. He just called him the Black Tim Tebow.
Jesus. Tim Tebow. That's a bit low there, brother.
Oh, no.
He said jive turkey. He said jive turkey. You didn't have to say that.
Tim Tebow.
I don't know, man. But shout out to Rock the Artist in the building.
If you watch Jalen Hurts from his time at Alabama to the guy he became in Oklahoma, you can see that he's a student of the game. He puts in work, and he's a very coachable kid. I'm not a huge Hurts fan, right? But he's grown and developed from the kid that I watched in Alabama that lost his job to Tua, to the kid that went out and played against the Saints. It's been vast improvement. I think he's still young. He's very coachable. And if you surround him by weapons, he may be able to do something. Now, I don't think Hurts is the guy that you can just say, go out and get me 400 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns and win this game. That's not him right now at this point in his career. But hell, in the first half of Arizona, he looked amazing.
Right.
The first half against the Cardinals, Hurts looked like he was back playing SEC against the Tennessee Vols, the way he was chucking the route, making all the right reads.
He kept his game.
And again, against the Saints, and this is something, when the game plan, Doug called a total different game when Hurts was in the game versus Witt. When Hurts was there, they established the run. They let Sanders get off a little bit. If you're going to give this kid a running game and go get him some weapons on the outside that are legitimate threats, Hurts can be the guy. I don't think you can go get Fields, you can go get Wilson, you can go get whoever you want. If the man is throwing the Hightower and James Thrash and Todd Pinkerton, he's not going to be successful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not all. And if you got 14 different line combinations, it's not going to work out. I think Hurts can play at this level. Is he elite? Yet to be seen. But we can't. I hate when people say, oh, this guy is elite, this guy isn't elite. I don't think Kyler Murray was that great. And I think like Kyler Murray had DeAndre Hopkins this year. DeAndre Hopkins is arguably the best receiver in the league. If you give Jalen Hurts to DeAndre Hopkins, or you give a Lamar Jackson to DeAndre Hopkins, or you a Julio Jones, you go get them one of those type of receivers, and they become a game changer. Like, what's the difference between Kyler Murray? What's the difference between Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts? What's the difference?
About 2 inches, too. Pause. That came up. 2 inches in height. 2 inches in height. 2 inches in height. 2 inches in height. Oh, God. So, guys, we're going to leave right now. I'm going to be ending this channel. It is going to be a cooking channel in the morning. Goodbye. I'm kidding.
But I do have to go. So it was nice. We'll be back on Swerve. Good luck to recover from that. Hope you can.
Before you leave, say thank you to Max. Thank you, Max, for the $5.
Hey, good looks, Max.
Max.
I'm gonna message you on Twitter if you guys are free for a couple minutes after the stream. Giants fan, by the way, found you through Entertainer. Hey.
Yeah, shout out to Entertainer.
That was a good mock draft series. So shout out to you for subbing it up, man. I respect that. We respect that. Everyone respects it.
I'll see you later, Brandon. Man, have a good meeting. You know.
All right, Brandon.
Later, Swerve.
All right.
So yeah, we are at 47 minutes. We got 45 people in here. Please do hit that like, hit that subscribe. Like I've said before, man, this is my guy, my brother Swerve. He is going to be coming on. Well, he's not going to be. He is now part of the Philly, the podcast team. We will be getting his show set up here very soon. Just wanted to kind of introduce you guys. And again, thank you so much, Max Webster, for the $5. The Twitter is at PhillyTP. So yeah, definitely hit me up. And yeah, we could talk. We could chop it up for a minute, man. Shout out to By Sherry said, finally, Brandon doesn't look like a COD player. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit, man. Y'all ain't shit, man. I can't do it. But no, I mean, so yeah, look, I feel like we are in a position that this could either be a 5-year, 10-year deal, right? Or this could happen pretty quick, because these next couple of drafts, if we attack the correct positions, I think we can do it quickly. You know what I'm saying? We can, especially if everything goes right. If Carson goes over there and plays 75% of the snaps, because that's all I need. Go over there, play 75% of the snaps, be terrible. I need like a 4-12 record. Look out for us one last time. Oh, DMs are closed. My bad. Just follow me and I'll follow you back. My bad. I don't know how to open them, so if y'all know how to do that, just let me know. But what are you thinking right now, man? Like, what do you want to see next? We saw Alshon gone. We're seeing Malik and them are probably going to be next. We see all these people getting cut. What's the next headline you're waiting for right now?
Eagles win the Super Bowl.
I need that.
But
need that.
It's like you said, I am a firm believer that this is going to be a full rebuild, and it's going to be a 2 or 3 year process. This isn't something like he overbid and he overbid on the Super Bowl team. This is the new norm. So then he put that this is the new norm pressure on himself and went out and signed a bunch of shitty contracts like the Malik Jacksons, the Hargraves, and he put that pressure. Health played a big key last year. Yeah, if you would have gave Carson Wentz, Julio Jones, Carson would have been elite. I agree, but I believe that this is a rebuild. Now, what I don't want to become is the Detroit Lions East, or I don't want to become. I was just about to address that, Black. I don't want to become Cleveland and suffer 20 years or be like Buffalo and go 20 years without a playoff berth. And I think that's where Howie has to take his hands off. Howie's too hands-on when it comes to actual football talent. We need to get a football guy in here and maybe tell him, hey, Howie, that's not the pick. Like Ortega Whiteside should have never been drafted. Like with the linebacker kid, you don't draft a kid in the 3rd round. Oh, Marcus Smith was horrible. Yeah, you don't draft a kid in the 3rd round. You drafted a kid in the 3rd round at the worst position on the team. and he did not see the field. Like, that says a lot about your evaluation, the people doing the evaluation. You can't draft a kid in the third round. Linebacker was our worst position. Then they lied to us. They said, oh, we're going to spend and we're going to address the linebacker issue. They cut Bradham and they said they were going to address the linebacker issue. They spent $3.8 million on all the linebackers this past season. Might be a little less than that. I might be giving them 0.3, but it's just, I think it's a rebuild. And if we're going to rebuild, you do it. I'm not saying fire sale, but I'm saying you get rid of anybody that's worth something that's over 30, and you get young, and you give this team a chance to develop. I cried too when we drafted Smith. Trout, what's happening? Yeah, exactly. You can't trust the guy in charge to make the right decisions and pick the right players. I'm totally with you on that one, Trout. So if we're going to rebuild, let's do it. I mean, I sat through the process. Bro, I sat through the process with the Sixers. I mean, the process was...
As long as we have a clear-cut plan. Like, if you tell me,
right,
this is where we are, this is what we're going to do, I'm cool with that. Like, like you said, you sat through the process, and there's actually, like, lottery. There's a lottery in that. Like, you're not guaranteed to get the best player.
You're not guaranteed nothing. The Sixers was so bad.
Second.
The Sixers was so bad that if you put $20 worth of gas in your car, they was giving you 4 tickets to the game. Caps was like, no, I don't even want them tickets. I'm dead ass. Like Luke Oil, you would go up there, you would go to the register and be like, yeah, let me get 25 on 2, and they hand you a slip for a Sixers game. Like, I've been through that. Yo, the Sixers lost 25 games in a row twice.
See, I'm a Nets fan.
How hard it is to lose 20?
We won 13 games in a season, so I feel you. I definitely feel you. We didn't go. I mean, our whole franchise has been a process, other than about like 5 or 6 years. So, I mean, I feel. I definitely.
So
feel
if we're
that.
gonna do it, if we're gonna rebuild, let's do it the right way. Is what I'm saying. Let's rebuild this thing the right way.
Facts. And Corey's right. It's a sneaky rebuild, especially since we're in the NFC East. We may actually still be competitive. That's the thing. And that's kind of what, I don't want to say hurt us this year, but that's kind of what caused a lot of drama. Like, because if we were 3 and whatever we were and we had no chance of making the playoffs, Carson would have probably been benched far earlier. And I don't know if all this matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the competition in the NFC East this year, I think, kind of maybe hurt us. Cameron Holmes says, do you think Nick Sirianni is going to have say in the draft picks? What do you think about that?
No. I think he was hired because he's a yes man. I mean, that was my Nick Sirianni impersonation. I think he was the yes man, and I think that Howie is in control, and he was a Laurie guy. He's a Howie Laurie guy, and I think they're gonna be in control and be too hands on. And that's the guy that they picked him for a reason. They picked him because they're going to be able to tell him what to do, tell him how to move, and he's happy to be a head coach. Like, that's why he landed there. It was too many other coaching candidates with better backgrounds than to hire a guy like Sirianni. I'm not going to knock him because he's the coach of my football team now, so I'm going to support him. But I think there was clearly a motive behind the hiring of this guy. He has connections with Frank, who has connections with Doug. I think Doug's message got stale, but Doug finally stood up for herself. And that was the beginning of the end. Like, Doug said, look.
Which is crazy. You would think somebody with a backbone is like, something you would want. Like, I'm hoping Nick Sirianni, like, we've read stories and heard, the mic'd ups, and he's been, know your shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want that Nick Sirianni. Give me that Nick Sirianni. Like, I kind of feel like from the jump with Doug Peterson, while I can't hate on the man, he won us the Super Bowl. God bless you, man. I love you. But Doug Peterson was bringing these grown-ass men ice cream every day after practice. Like that, like at the time, it seemed cool because we was winning. But like now looking back, it's like, don't bring these grown ass men no ice cream. You know what I'm saying? You go to work, you do your damn job, and then you go home. Because I feel like Philadelphia is a family atmosphere, and I'm cool with that. I love that about the locker room a lot of the years. But when you're not winning, a lot of that stuff just looks soft. So you either gotta like know when to cut it off, know when to get like stern. And I feel like he never had that. I feel like Doug Peterson never necessarily had that like get your shit together like with Nick Sirianni type moments, you know?
Yo, Philly started losing when Meek came home. we got to put his ass back.
We got too hype. We got too hype. We got to. It's like when you turn 21. It's like when you drink all the way until you're 21, you partying, and then once you turn 21, you're just like, all right, we did it.
Yeah,
like,
it was. Like, and I think that played a huge role in it. Like I can honestly say, as an Eagles fan, like football season makes you hostile because you get picked on. You ain't won a Super Bowl. You ain't got no trophies. You ain't done this. Once we won the Super Bowl, it was kind of like I could relax. I ain't even, like honestly since that February 2018, I've really been on some. Hey, I seen my team finally win the Super Bowl. So I think a lot of that it wasn't just like some teams have a Super Bowl hangover, but being an Eagles fan, it was like an extreme hangover because it was something that you never thought was going to happen, and when it did happen, it was like, damn, it really happened. Like, yo, I thought it was fake for 3 days. I thought it was fake. And then I'm like, normally, I just realized, I'm like, damn, yo, I ain't even get mad at football this year. Like, I ain't even get mad at.
Even when he got injured, when Wentz got injured in that game, it was like, I don't know, like it sucked for the night. It sucked like for a good couple days. Don't get me wrong, like I was definitely depressed, but something in me was just like, we could really still do like this. You know, like usually it's like there's absolutely no chance at all that this is going to happen, but something kicked in, and I felt like all of Philadelphia can agree to, at least the Eagles fans. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I feel like most can at least agree to this. I don't know what it was, but I feel like by that Wednesday, maybe Thursday, something kicked in, and it was just like, F that, we're gonna do this year. You know, like this is actually our time. So, I mean, you know, shout out to everybody saying don't blame Meek, man. Yeah, Meek brought us that championship, bro.
Yeah.
Even when I hear
that dreams and nightmares, man. That don't it don't hit right now that he out of jail though. He might need to.
He need to go back for the city, bro. He need to go back. For
do a quick 20-week bid during football
season.
You know, we got you.
We got you. Put something on your butt.
We need you, Meek.
Facts. We need you.
We need you, Meek. Do it for the city.
Season, man. That was just a perfect season, bro. Like, shout out to everybody that's still in the chat, man. 40 people in the chat. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe if you are new. But go ahead. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, I was just saying that was lightning in the bottle, man. I remember I was at I'm not gonna really plug the restaurant or the bar I was at, but I was sitting at the bar, right, and Lynch ran the joint in, and I seen a bull hit his knee, and I was like, shit, that don't look good. And the person back when you were allowed to sit next to strangers, the person sitting next to me was like, what you talking about? And I was like, yo, Wentz is hurt. And then he got back and went to the huddle. So I'm like, all right, maybe I was just overreacting. You know, I done played a little bit of sports in my day. I thought it was he throws the touchdown pass. And I'm like, all right, we good. Then I see him walk back off to the locker room. I was like, it's over. And I was just like, you know, it's always happens in Philly. Like we get on the road, we look like we the best team in the league. We got an MVP at quarterback, and then this happened. And I really felt that way. Like I felt that way until the second half of the Falcons game. I think something clicked. I think Doug, and this is coaching. This is why I give Doug his respect. I think he went in the locker room and they said, hey, Frank, Doug, Nick, what are you comfortable doing? I mean, we only got a half. If it don't work, we only got a half of football left to play anyway.
Exactly.
What are you comfortable doing? What can we do to make you comfortable? Nick Foles never looked back. He went out and looked great. And then he came in, and then he didn't look bad to start the season. I just think like it's Howie and Laurie have too many hands. They're two hands on. Like I watched Derek Gunn. Derek Gunn said they let people do their jobs, but that's not what it looks like from the outside. And again, he has more intel and content, and he interacts with those guys way more than I do. But from the outside looking in, you can't say Joe. You can't ask me to make dinner and then buy the ingredients. And when I say, "Hey, I need cheese," and you're like, "No, we're not getting you cheese. We gotta go get you carrots." Yeah. Then you just hand me carrots, and I'm like, "What am I supposed to do with these carrots?" And that's what Howie done to Doug. It's like, "Hey, make this happen." I don't know. Maybe I just don't like Howie, old blockhead ass man, lazy face man.
And shout out to both of these comments. Both of these comments honestly like got me thinking. So Mark Blackstock said, I don't know why I'm stuttering like that. Said they went bad when they didn't bring back Pat Rob. That's very true. I mean, Pat Rob, and it's weird because Pat Robinson didn't really, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but he didn't go crazy when he went back to the Saints. Like I feel like he just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
No, he rejuvenated. That was a rejuvenation. He rejuvenated himself with that. He looked good though.
Yeah. And then Thomas says, I blame Jeffrey Lurie since the Super Bowl. Jeffrey has wanted more credit. I truly believe Jeffrey has been getting Howie to draft guys that Jeffrey likes. Explains why Howie's job is safe. Now, the first part, that's opinion. But the second part, I truly believe Jeffrey has been getting Howie to draft guys that Jeffrey likes. Explains why Howie's job is safe. That actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm not saying the first part makes sense, but I mean,
he drafted Ortega Whiteside.
I mean, neither of these guys are football guys, so I feel like if it's probably one of them, I wouldn't be surprised he said carrots. Big facts, though. I would not be surprised. Young Money also asks if Wentz says if Wentz never got hurt, I wonder would he have been the top quarterback and not Mahomes? Because Carson was the golden goose, man. I think probably will be a top 10, 12 quarterback for the rest of his career, not number one.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, could he have been? That's very possible. He could have possibly been. Because if you look at it, was he paid in 2017? No, right?
No, he got paid after that.
So, I mean, it's really interesting. If he wins that Super Bowl, how much does he cost? Is that something that makes us just be like, never mind, we'll go get another guy? I mean, there's a lot of possibilities if he wasn't trash. He said, I remember we signed Mike Wallace, and I can't remember him playing a game. Yeah, I don't think he did. JJ over Metcalf. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be one thing that forever tarnishes Howie Roseman's record or credit or whatever you want to call what he has at this point. Because that was just a dumb idea. That and a couple other things, but I mean that's just I guess the most recent one. But either way, I think we about to get off of here. You got anything you want to say before we get out of here, bro?
No, thank y'all for having me. I'll see y'all again soon, very soon. Hopefully again this week. What is it today? Monday. Hopefully another show this week I'll be able to get on. And
yes, sir.
Philly the podcast. Thanks for having me. Simply Swerve will be up running soon. Appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for everything.
Yes, sir. And don't forget tomorrow, guys. Of course, I didn't upload the image, but tomorrow, Tyler, you came at the perfect time, bro. You came at the perfect time, Tyler. But now tomorrow I'm gonna be in. Oh, he left. All right. Tomorrow I'm gonna be interviewing what's his name? Shane Simpson. Sorry, I always say Sean for some reason. Tomorrow I'm gonna be interviewing Shane Simpson, running back for Virginia. He's already been talking to the Colts, the Eagles, a couple other teams. So I'm excited to talk to him. But appreciate everybody chilling. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you guys in the morning. You know what it is. Fly Eagles fly, and we are out here. Peace.